Welcome to World Chefs Podcast. I'm your host, Ragnar, and you're listening to World on a Plate. Joining us today is a two-time Culinary Olympian and pastry chef and chocolatier, Sebastian Pettersson. He's hailing from Sweden. Sebastian is currently the head chef at the Hobo Hotel in Stockholm and also a decorated competitor, having showcased his skills in the world stage at the Culinary Olympics not once, but twice. Clinching gold medal at both times. And more recently, he led the Swedish Junior Culinary Team to a gold medal at the 2024 Culinary Olympics that just took place in Stuttgart now a month ago. So without further ado, welcome, Sebastian, and thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Hey, thank you.
Good to see you. How's life been since Stuttgart, the Olympics? Getting back into routine?
Yeah, getting back into routines. It's a bit tough to just let everything go because you let everything go at like once. It's so intense. Like the last 2 months before the competition is super intense with all of the final details getting set. And then you go down and you have the competition and straight back home to normal life. It gets a little bit weird the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, I have to readjust. Hey, but so first of all, congratulations on leading the Swedish junior team to a gold medal at the Olympics. So I guess that is a great compensation for all the hard work. So you got home back to Sweden a happy man. So how did it feel to hear that Sweden, that the team that you mentored had won?
I mean, you can't really describe the feeling, which is something that probably everyone would say. But I felt like this team has been fighting. I've never been with such a young chefs fighting so hard for having this common goal. My team ended up being so close to each other, so big like a family, spending a lot of time together and really showing off that they don't want anything else but a gold medal. And I'm so happy that they actually got what they deserved in the end. So I was just a big relief of letting them finalize in the best possible position.
Yeah. So a big relief at the end, all the stress just washed away and just happiness. And I guess you know what you're talking about because before mentoring the junior team, you also have a vast competition experience that I'm sure came handy for your team. So tell me, so you first competed in the Olympics 2016 with the Swedish team, and later in 2018. So this is every 4 years, or every edition, and both time a gold medalist. So it was 2016. That was your first time competing in the Olympics. So how old were you then?
2016, I was around 20, so 2021, I'd say. And that was my first time getting into national competitions. I've done a few like school competitions, but that was my big step into this big family of chef associations in Sweden. So that was a big milestone for me to get into a big family and realize that I have something else that I really want to do, which is competitions. So yeah.
How did you get into that? So before that, so you're 20-year-old, you're already working in the industry, and so how did you get in contact with the Swedish Chef Association, and how did that happen? That sort of.
I learned very quickly that from like being an intern in schools and in nice restaurants, I had a mentor called Fredrik Borgskog. And I also got a mentor quickly called Kalle, and all of them have been in the culinary teams. And I knew that if you want to achieve something fast, and if you want to grow your career pretty fast, either you find a very good restaurant or you just dig deep into competitions. Because then in competitions, you always have the deadlines, you always have the end goals, and you know that you need to spend extra spare time and extra focus on things. So it was quick to get into competitions because I was very eager to learn quickly and do my best from the very beginning.
Interesting. It's sort of an accelerator of learning. And you mentioned mentoring a few times. I guess it's really important to have people mentoring you when you were at that age.
Yeah.
So to have that support and somebody like to push you and then you finally becoming a mentor yourself. So I guess was a natural progression for you. Is it very different, the young chef Olympics, the Junior Olympics, from the Senior Olympics? Is it a very different ambience setting, or?
For the competition itself, I think it's. I mean, when I was in 2016, we got to try out the first eatable buffet and stuff, so that was pretty interesting. The rules were kind of bendy. We didn't really know how to read the rules. So I mean, during this stage, specifically for the buffet, we have like developed a thing with now with all of the vegan dishes and the flow for the service is just, I mean, the organization has just treated this like a baby, I'd say, and made it really nice and comfortable for chefs to work around with. So it's been a lot of changes throughout the year, which I think is very, very good and very appreciated.
Oh yeah, excellent. Good to hear. Because I mean, this thing only happens every 4 years, as I mentioned, and so there's a lot at stake. You know, there's a lot of time and training for that one moment, and so important that the experience is positive, and so like because you've been now, I mentioned you were at the Olympics in 2016 and again in 2018, and then fast forward, now mentoring the junior team. You started like ages ago. How long since you started training them until 2024 Olympics? What has been like that?
We are doing 3.5 years because now the competition is in the beginning of the year in January, February, so it gets like 3.5 years. And in between there we have Luxembourg, the World Cup. But the bigger goal is Olympics. So we focus, we're bringing some things with us during the journey. But the day started, everyone knew as a competitive chef from 3.5 years ago back.
Right. So like it's like 3.5 years from getting the team together and training.
Yeah.
A lot of I mean, a lot of engagement from the whole team, from everybody. You have to look at this very long term, right? And so how come you got involved in the mentoring? So what was the sort of the step from once you said, well, no more competition for me, but I want to mentor? When did that happen, and how did that happen, sort of?
It happened pretty natural for me, also because when I finished in 2020, we came back from the Olympics by then, and then the COVID came. So you realize that, okay, I don't have so much left to do. And also it felt like I felt a big miss in my like personal life, or like of course I still have my friends from the past team, but I miss that like catch up you have with everyone. You miss talking to someone every day about some new goal or some new dish that we need to do. So I felt like there was something missing out, and my more like normal step in the ladder would be to take over like a position for coaching. And between these years, I've done a lot of master classes abroad. I've done a lot of teaching abroad. So I felt like, yeah, that should be something for me that I'm really interested in. So I got in contact with our association, and we agreed on do this for 4 years together.
Right. And so where does that sort of journey begin? So this is like 4 years, almost 3.5 years before the Olympics. And so do you already have a team, or so what's the process? From the day you say like, okay, I'm gonna train, I'm gonna coach the team.
Yeah.
How do you start? How do you set it up?
The process is a normal like job applications for every chef that has the right age to get into the team, so not be older than 25. And then we went through, I think it was like 30, 50 CVs, resumes, and tried to handpick a lot of them. Went for interviews with maybe like 20. And then we finalized the last step with just meeting them in a kitchen. But we didn't focus anything about the actual cooking, because I don't believe that if you find a super chef but you don't have the right attitude, then we're gonna have more problems than actually training someone the way that we should train for competitions if they have the right attitude. So we went a lot with like personal tests and really tried to find good balance and chemistry in the actual team spirit.
How many are in one team? How many?
From the beginning, we were a lot. We were like 12, 13. Probably I'm gonna say wrong numbers now.
Doesn't
And
matter.
we ended up being around 11, 10, including coaches. So we went down to a smaller scale from Luxembourg to the Olympics, but we managed to keep the core team that's actually in the box. So everyone had done a competition before they stepped into the Olympics.
Yeah, and so now once you have the team together, so how much training? How do you prepare the team? Like what? So from like going back 3.5 years ago. So now that you got the team, how do you start, and what is the process of the training, and what is the
From my side, it's a lot of logistics. Usually make 2 years schedule for them, so they can keep up in phase and they know what kind of points we have, what deadlines we have, both from the organization and both from my side as the coach. But we meet once a month for 4 days roughly. They maybe spend 5, 6 days before that, and then they also have like their normal tasks. We don't see a training as a test cooking. We see a training as a presentation of what work we have done in between trainings. So they have a lot of work. I think everyone in the team probably spend between 15 to 20 hours a week for just training and communicating with each other, writing recipes, and getting everything set for that actual training.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot of commitment when
Yeah.
you have a job to take care of as well. So, and I guess
Yeah.
it's important that so like, do you also communicate with the employers of the people, so they need to be supportive as well?
Yeah, we have a lot of good supporters from a lot of good supports from the actual restaurants that they're working with. A lot of them are friends with me, and they are always like invited to our test cookings. And it's a very, very important step to have a close relation with your boss at work, so they have a good understanding of why you're gonna be away, why you may be gonna come in unfocused and talking about something else and not being, especially in the end phase, they're not going to be 100% focusing on work because it's going to be too much to think of for the actual competitions. So yeah, it's a very, very big step, very crucial point.
Yeah, and I guess yeah, all the support. I mean, and then it's also very costly. So the
Yeah.
fundraising, is that also on your shoulders, or you have people to help you with funding? I mean, I don't know how much competing in the Olympics will cost. Do you have an idea, or is that
Uh, I don't really have the numbers, to be honest. I'd say I know like a training enough is a lot of money, but that comes from our good sponsors and partnerships that we have around in Sweden that we work closely with. But also like their personal cost, like their personal cost of giving up money as a team member for not being at work. It's a big sacrifice.
Yeah. And do you think like is there? I mean, for like Sweden has been doing so well over the last 2 decades, probably both at the Olympics and the World Cup, at our Global Chef Challenge and the Bocuse d'Or. Same with all the Nordic countries, and so as and in Sweden in particular, there's like you said, there's a big system around it, and everybody's pushing the team, trying very hard. Do you see like there is a benefit? Is there a benefit to the not just the individual, but to the country? It helps also build up the image of the country. Do you find like you have a lot of support from or attention from Swedish people around?
Yeah, I'd say Sweden is a very food interested country. We have a lot of TV shows about food. We have a lot of events always around food. I think a lot of things is like in genuine people are interested in eating good food and are interested in like almost in a nerdy level of like being interested in cooking is very popular in Sweden in general. So yeah, I would say we have a lot of support around that. But then we are also in a great country when it comes to veggies, when it comes to meat production, when it comes to a lot of the nice goods. We are very lucky to have most of the things that we compete with is sourced within Sweden.
Mhm. Yeah. And so like, yeah, the country, so you have a lot of support from the restaurant industry, from the sponsors, but yeah, you also bring a lot back. Like, as you
Yeah,
mentioned, so you are featuring them when you go on a cooking shows and all the discussion.
yeah,
Yeah. Then you're actually, you're giving a lot back to the country. So it's an interesting way of doing, yeah, a country promotion. It's not all in vain for the people that are supporting. That's
no,
everybody wins, right?
yeah,
So when you start back to training as you said, I guess, I mean, you have 3 years to train, or there is the World Cup in between, so there is like maybe a 2 year intervals,
yeah.
and that you start training for. So you start with like get the team together, and do you decide, like, does it start with deciding the menu, and is a long time doing the menu development, or is it a lot of time just doing like repeating the techniques to have the timing right, or sort of
Mm,
what's do you have like a specific schedule?
yeah, we have specific schedules. Of course, there's a different phase between now when they became a completely new team to getting into the World Cup. Then it was a lot of more practical training of like this is the way we work. This is more or less rules in the kitchen for the methods in the kitchen. So we didn't have to focus really that much on those things when it came to between the World Cup and the Olympics. It was more focused on finding the exact right ingredients and very much more about actual taste and actual sitting down and discussing the dishes and getting a feeling more for the dishes. But usually we spend the first two trainings, the first 2 months, with just brainstorming and test cooking things. Like randomly, we know that we're gonna do a starter, main course, dessert for the hot kitchen, and we almost know that we know that we're gonna do a fish platter or we're gonna do a dessert for the chef's buffet. So we started off brainstorming, and then I'm very strict to when it comes to actually doing time trainings, and we're doing time trainings from the beginning because otherwise we won't realize. Otherwise, you can create a fantastic dish, but you're never gonna be able to make it in time. So we focus a lot on the actual work in the kitchen and bringing a lot of mentors in this year, or like these 2 years. I'm happy to have Christer with me, Christer Dahl, like a judge, to be able to sit it from a judge perspective all the time. So we've been focused a lot together with the actual taste and with the actual sense of you're cooking your own food, but you're not cooking for yourself at home. You need to adapt to the widest perspective of different cultures, different countries, and different perspective from each jury member, I would say.
Yeah. So after all that time, the training, then it comes to the D-Day, the real day. So what is the last week before the Olympics like? Are you like, is that when like you're calming down? Are you like, how do you prepare in the last days before the Olympics or the day before? How do you prepare to actually wake up in the morning on the actual competition day?
We actually made a very good schedule for this competition, I'd say. We do the last training in Stockholm just before the trucks goes down to Stuttgart. So we basically put everything into boxes, shut them down, and then you start to have like these checkpoints of like, okay, the trucks are gone, okay, the veggies are delivered, and then you start to feel calming down, get on an airplane down there. And my team was very, very settled, and they did everything on time. They realized that they need to have like a proper sleep. No one is staying up early or staying up late. So we managed to have a very calm sense during the competition days. Nothing major happened. Everything went smooth, and they were happy with the results. So coming out with an end result as a winner was, everything was very smooth sailing. And I think that was also a effect that I got from the judges, that there were no pushing and no stress from any judge or like anything. No one in my team felt like unstable with judge or like misread or whatever. So it was very smooth talking with all the judges, and everything felt very organized in Stuttgart.
So you think like it's a bit like being an athlete and doing sports. So the mental part, the mental preparation is important for your team.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you've competed many times since 2016. You feel a difference when like have you had a situation where things start to get wrong and there's a little bit of panic that sets in and
Yeah. Yeah, I had many of those, especially in 2016, where things got really wrong in the actual kitchen. But then we managed. That's where the team spirit needs to comes in, because then our team captain came in and it's like, okay, now we calm down. We do like this. We do like this. So you also need to trust every single one of them in the kitchen that you're actually standing next to. That everyone have my back. We can always fix this in some way, and no one is gonna get angry with me for not doing my things right. So we worked a lot on that. Like, okay, what happens if this situation shows up? If we have something critical during trainings, how should we prepare to fix this during a competition where we can't go to the dry storage and get new things or whatever? So we prepared for a lot of situations where it could come to an end of getting to fix something.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, so yeah, back in 2016, have you seen? You mentioned changes and the organization was good in 2024, which is good to hear. So, so tell me again. So how do you feel that the competition, like the Olympics, has changed since 2016 and today? What is sort of the key?
I think the big and the main change is like the wake up call of, okay, we're actually doing competitions. Everyone knows that doing competitions is maybe not the best way for either climate or for the future, because we're all traveling there with ingredients. We're all traveling there with trucks. It's not the best thing of practicing and not serving it to customers every day. We're not a restaurant. We know that. But I think that the competition itself has turned out to, okay, we need to have such a huge awareness of, okay, what are we actually bringing into the kitchen? We're looking at waste controls. We're looking in every single bin, and that's just not to be picky. That's just to actually show that we care. And we're looking into, I mean, for example, when I was in 2016, everything that we brought in from the pastry side came in a backpack. Now you're barely allowed to bring in a vacuum bag in the kitchen, because we know that that's just going to be a plastic waste and we need to reduce that. So I think the awareness of climate change is probably the biggest one, which also reflects on the team of when we choose our ingredients. We choose them very smart and very bravely, and everything, how we pack things, how we treat our produce, how we actually working in the kitchen. We looked into so many different angles, specifically now to the Olympics. Okay, not just forcing ourselves into it, but also, I mean, we're kind of role models for the world. So we need to step up and show that we can maybe invent a new thing and we can maybe think from another perspective. So it comes when the actual organization push the team a little bit towards this. We need to be the ones showing that we have something new.
Yeah. Hey, and so at the competition in 2020, now this one in 2024 now, what was the judges' feedback to you? What do you think dazzled them, or what was like, what do you think were tilted the victory towards you? Did they have any specific comments?
I'd say from me standing in an outside perspective, and also then talking to the judges afterwards, and all of their feedback for the briefing as well, was that the thing that I think that our team had that was something special was that they could really see that we enjoyed ourselves. This is a organized team that everyone is happy to be here. Everyone wants to show off. We have been waiting for this day for so long. There's no stress coming in here. We actually invite the judges to have a look at us and see what we can do. We want to present ourselves, and we have a good team spirit. We're not here to tell you like we are very strict on times or whatever. What happens, and we fix it together with the marshals and the judges, because everyone just want to one last time cook these nice dishes and present it in the best way. And that's also something that the judges want. They don't want to push us towards the border if we're not on time or if we're a little bit early in the buffet. They just want to have a nice flow and make sure that we can have everything set to make our dishes. I think that was the biggest thing that I heard from a lot of judges, that this team really felt like we want to be in Stuttgart and we're here, we're ready. We welcome you, and we enjoy our team because we enjoy being here.
So the whole professionalism, the attitude and
Yeah.
professionalism was like what maybe made a difference, because it's difficult for the judges sometimes to differentiate. They're trying to find little things here and there to take points, and trying to separate the winner, second place and the third place is really a hard job for them, isn't it?
Yeah. This year was very, very small points in between all of the top teams. So
little
small details.
Small details that make the difference. And so you standing there on the sideline, so almost like in football terms, you used to be competing, and now you're on the sideline on the bench. What is that? What is that feeling like? Do you want to almost like jump into the kitchen? Would you prefer to be a competitor, or is the mentoring? Do you prefer the mentoring? Like thinking back, what is the difference? What is your feeling actually? What do you feel when you see the team is maybe struggling, or
then you want to step in. But actually seeing them after training them for such a long period, it's and seeing that everything goes well and everyone is happy. Of course, it's super difficult to read every single one of them during the competition, so it's a little bit nervous of being outside for that many hours before in the hot kitchen get to step in for the service and such. But I feel like, of course, I enjoy being in the actual competition area and being in there. It's been such a big part of my career. So I would rather be in the kitchen than always outside the kitchen, I would say.
Exactly. Excellent, Sebastian. So really, I want to thank you for sharing all this, and you're giving us our audience insights into the way you work and some of the key success factors, and like a point of view on the process, which I think is really helpful. And I hope a lot of our listeners, younger listeners, are getting inspired. So what do you have an advice to a young chef who dream of competing and winning gold? Do you have an advice how to start, or what attitude to keep in mind? And
I'm always saying to get somewhere, probably no matter what industry you're in, you should find a good mentor that respects you and you respect his or her profession, and you really stick tight to that person. And if that's within competition, then you're lucky. If that's within a restaurant, then just keep to that. And I'm pretty sure that most of the countries have a chef association. So if you're interested in a team, just stick out to them.
Yeah, connect with the chef association, start there. And so what sort of attitude are you looking for? When you said it in the beginning, actually, was interesting. You were not looking for like how well they could cook to put together a team, but you were looking for an attitude. So what for you like sort of puts you off, or what for you is like a strong point to say like that person?
I can almost more tell you what puts me off. That is someone that takes up all of the space in the room, someone that needs to be shown for the first time, maybe someone that speaks a little bit too much. I usually refer it with a Zlatan. if you have a Zlatan in the room, then you're gonna end up with a big scene when it comes to feedback, when it comes to everything. But otherwise, it's a balance between, we're looking at both maybe the quiet ones that don't take so much space, but are very good with the logistics or very good with the designs, and you're looking at others that are very specific in other ways. So it needs to be a balance. You can't say that you should all be like this. They should all be open-minded and listening more to others, and then have your own opinion as well, of course.
Right. So have leave your ego outside the kitchen and be open-minded.
Yeah.
Be very open and sharing with your teammates. So it's all about the team. Brilliant. Hey, thank you, Sebastian. That was really insightful, and
Thank you.
And thank you for your time, and congratulations again to you and the team. Please,
Thank you.
Congratulations to the team. It was great to see you at ICA, and looking forward to see you again. Hopefully at the Singapore the World Chef Congress, but somewhere around the world, I'm sure. And
somewhere.
yeah, good luck with your hotel opening. So back to hard life, back to real life now.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sebastian, and all of you listening. Thank you for listening. You're listening to World Chef's podcast. I'm your host, Ragnar, and this is World on a Plate. Thank you, and take care, everybody.